I feel like a lot of medicine, everything is like standard of care. You do this, like very protocols and regimented and algorithms and things like that. But going into the territory of something like dysphagia and patient with complex airways, we don't have that. You're kind of like pioneering through all of those things. And I bet that's kind of like nerve wracking to kind of go case by case. Like, how does the treatment team accept those things, and how does the family or patient accept those?
Yeah, it's definitely more of an art than a science for sure.
Yeah, and pioneering is such a great way to summarize it just because the literature has come out to a certain extent, but it's in the acute care settings where we're doing these really controlled trials or we have really stable long-term vent patients. No one has really published or is talking about what it looks like for a rehab patient who's learning physical therapy goals, occupational therapy goals, respiratory goals, medically stabilizing, and now we're adding the PO on top of that. So we really kind of have drawn from the literature, but then drawn from what we've learned with our patients over the last 5 years in terms of there are some times where we think someone's ready from an instrumental standpoint, and then maybe later on in the day, they need to increase the inspiratory support on the ventilator, the PIP. And so that gives us a good understanding of, okay, they're not ready right now.
Yep. And definitely we have, in terms of the complexity of airways that we see, we have some patients here that they've been liberated from mechanical ventilation and they may have a tracheostomy that doesn't have a cuff on it, which can create some physical limitation when it comes to swallowing. There's some patients here where, they're still requiring ventilatory support even during the day, as they're in their recovery period. And, part of the science of it is in working with Kate to figure out, do they really need that cuffed tracheostomy tube? Is that impeding their swallowing? Can we move forward to an uncuffed tube and try to compensate in terms of their ventilatory mechanics? I think those are all important things. Can they tolerate capping? Can they not tolerate capping? And a lot of it just takes the teams working together and talking to each other to say, yeah, we're okay today because yesterday was a really hard day in PT, and so they need a little bit of recovery from that. But maybe today's a good day to spend more concentration on respiratory and speech, which still allows them to meet those rehab goals that we need to meet and part of why they're being here. But we can concentrate on other functional improvements that we need to make over time.
Yep. And focusing on the patient's quality of life to a certain extent, too. Those are good conversations to have. A lot of people are very motivated to eat. It's cultural, it's how we build social relationships. It's important. And I think we've done a really good job over the last 5 years of mitigating the somewhat siloed pulmonary and respiratory literature of let them breathe, in the dysphagia SLP literature of, we want to let them eat. We want to let them eat cake. So together, yeah, over time, we have the respiratory team, the pulmonary team, and the speech pathology team have met and attended some CEUs together, worked on policy, had lots and lots and lots of discussions to really get to the place where we're at now.
Right. It took a long time to get where we are. And, we just had to work together and figure out where can we give a little so that the patient can get a little in terms of improving their overall health.